so much. Okay, good afternoon to everybody. It's for me really a pleasure to be here and accepting this work together with Razan, with the government of Germany, regarding the reflection and the action around the importance of biodiversity in the climate crisis. For a country like Colombia, that still 52% of its territory is covered by forest, ecosystem integrity is not only a matter of conservation, it's a matter of survival in the climate change era. These forests account for 75% of our water. The rising temperatures are creating an ecological collapse around the world, but also in forests like the Amazon. But at the same time, the capacity of nature to transit this global change, the capacity of nature to be strong and adapt. I'm not talking about human adaptation, I'm talking about ecosystems adaptation to the change, will be higher its probability if nature is still conserved, if it's able to connect ecosystemically, if it's able to reproduce. And if ecosystems are able to adapt, then communities will be able to adapt. For us in the South, this is the matter of survival in the climate crisis era. On the other hand, if nature's links are weakened, if deforestation, degradation, pollution is a very high level, then climate change will be just the tipping point of the collapse of ecosystems, and with them, the collapse of communities, populations, territories, and a huge crisis that will manifest in massive migration. We are already having in Colombia areas of first line for climate change where ecosystems are not able to provide the functions that allow population to survive. Seen from the point of emissions, deforestation is for us our first source of emissions. Stopping deforestation has twofold situation. One, it stops from releasing carbon to the atmosphere and at the same time keeps the function of absorbing carbon. So every hectare that is deforested is a tragedy because of those two realities. So at the end, and with this I will finish, it is very important, especially for countries in the South, that we take nature as the basis of our adaptation, that we pledge for nature and biodiversity investments for adaptation, which is our main priority in the South, and that we also ask for phasing out of fossil fuels, because otherwise the rising temperatures will make ecosystems not viable, and with that will make populations non-viable. In that regards, phasing out of fossil fuels is also a matter of survival, but in this very uncertain world, keeping ecosystems, its relationships with culture, its relationships with communities, and fostering the recuperation of the nature that we have already lost is also critical for carbon absorption, for avoiding emissions, but also for resilience, adaptation, and the possibility to survive in a very uncertain world. So this pledge is about bringing the Biodiversity Convention and the Climate Change Convention in one same landfill, in one same land zone, because they are complementary and synergistic objectives. And because, and this is for sure now my last point, because the energy transition cannot be developed at the cost of nature. And this is another very difficult conflict we haven't talked about, but I see it now in my country, where the minerals for developing the energy transition are the same areas of high value conservation. How are we going to develop that mining? Are we going to multiply times 5 mining to be able to do the energy transition? What are the options? How do we do it? But one thing cannot cause the other, because otherwise we will not be achieving any of the objectives. So with this, we invite you all to join this pledge, to work together towards these goals, and to make biodiversity, nature conservation, a key element of our climate adaptation, mitigation, and survival objectives.